What's cracking, guys? Bruce Madsen here, your host of the show of Metro Scout Fantasy Football, and we're continuing on with this prospect profile series, getting you ready for the rookie drafts, getting you ready for the NFL draft, and getting you ready and prepared for this off season, this draft season. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft class, and that is David Bell from Purdue. And I've talked about him a lot this offseason. I've talked about him a lot during the season on the channel. And now it's time for his prospect profile. Coming out of high school, he's a 4-star recruit. 247 Sports had him ranked as the 19th best receiver coming out in their composite rankings. Going into his freshman season at Purdue, he balled out. He balled out instantly. He was one of the few wide receivers in this draft class. They only had 3 of them in this class that broke out with a 20% market share or higher at age 18. David Bell was one of them. During his freshman season in 2019, he caught 86 balls for 1,035 yards and 7 touchdowns. Owned a 27.83% market share of the team's passing production. Then we go into his sophomore season, 2020, shortened year for him. Only 6 games played because it was a shortened season for the Big Ten. Here he caught 53 balls for 625 yards and 8 touchdowns. Doesn't sound much because he only played in 8 games, but he was on pace for 97 catches for 1,146 yards, 16 touchdowns. He had 2.39 yards per team pass attempts, which is really good, and he owned a 33.71% market share of Purdue's passing production. Big time year in 2020, but it goes unnoticed because the counting stats are a little low. Going into his junior season here in 2021 this year, he blew up again for 93 catches, 1,286 yards, and 6 touchdowns, had a 31.47% market share. He also blew up against Iowa and Michigan State. Iowa was ranked 2 at the time, and Michigan State was ranked number 3 in the nation at the time. He had over 200 yards in each of those games. In both those games combined, he caught 22 balls. Blew up, put the team on his back, and looked good. He was proving that he was the alpha of the offense and proving that he can blow up and take over a game at any given moment, which is something you want to see out of your wide receiver prospect. On tape, you're going to see a lot of the goods: strong hands, good ball skills, can climb the ladder, can time the ball while it's in the air, can be good against contested catches, can bring the ball down home with them, especially with another DB or a couple DBs draped over him. Can break off crisp routes. He can separate, has sweet feet, decent short area quickness. He has been registered to hit over 20 miles per hour in-game speed. I know people have been knocking on his speed. He's not a 4.3 guy, but he's not slow either. He has been registered to hit 20 miles per hour. I think it was like almost at 21, if I remember right. So he does have enough speed to get downfield. And I also think he's more of a technician than what people make him out to be because he can sell routes, he can use head movement, and his footwork's pretty slick. Also, with how he can win when the ball's in the air, he just rises up, brings the ball home down with him. He's got strong hands. There's nothing really that David Bell can't do. I mean, he's not going to light you up as a stretch X wide receiver. He's not going to run 9 routes all day and be a Mike Evans. He's not going to be that type of guy, but he can win underneath. He can win deep on occasions. He can sell routes. He can create separation that way. He doesn't need separation because he can box out defenders, grab the ball while it's in the air, time it appropriately, and then after the catch, even though he's not the burstiest guy, he can maneuver space around them, read the momentum of the defenders. There's this one play against Michigan State where the guy was trying to body him up. He's along the sideline, and he caught the ball, and he maintained his balance along the sideline, did not go out of bounds, but at the same time was managing to push the defender on his back, and the defender slid backwards, and it looked like David Bell pushed him with Superman powers or something, and then David Bell took off for a gain. So he can do incredible plays like that. So David Bell's got a lot on his resume that we should like about him. I feel like he's being slept on a lot because he's falling to the latter part of the first round, which shouldn't happen with metrics like this, with tape like this, but it's not a comparison, but with how he's being handled, he's being very comparable to Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman, early breakout age, even better market share production numbers, was falling a little bit in rookie drafts. We're getting the same thing with David Bell, except for it's coming a little harder. I think people are having a hard time evaluating him because he's from Purdue. The flashlight is not shined on him like a red beacon, but if you look at the numbers, you look at the tape, you just put it together. It's not that hard. We got a very good wide receiver here, and I like the value we're getting out of him. In Superflex, once we get those running backs that pump up the board a little bit, that get overdrafted, that end up being a first-round pick, you're going to start seeing them fall in the 201 range in Superflex rookie drafts. That's going to be a hell of value for a guy that broke out at age 18, had 3 productive years in college, and has a good highlight reel. That is a very good value in rookie drafts to get. And even in 1 QB, being in the latter part of the first round, still a good value. And I don't know how many running backs from the middle rounds that will get pumped up in the first round this year. We usually get like 1 or 2. That could dilute his value as well, making him an even cheaper prospect to get, which I like. But David Bell's one of my guys. He's going to be one of those players that I'm just going to have a bunch of shares of. And I'm not lying. He is one of those players that I'm going to be drafting up all off season. There's no reason why I shouldn't be. He's at a good price point, good metrics, good production metrics. I want to see what he does at the combine, but I feel like it's just going to be good enough. He's not going to light the combine on fire, but he's not going to fall on his face either. But good production metrics still, good tape still, good value still. I'm buying that up. If he was overpriced, I'd understand, but this guy should be competing to be the number 1 wide receiver in his class among everybody, but he's not. He's being slept on. We're getting him cheap, and this is a market inefficiency that we're seeing right now, and we need to capitalize on that as much as possible because David Bell's on the cheap, and he's a good player. But that's all I got on David Bell. Let me know what you think about him in the comments. Are you drafting him up this season? Are you willing to pay a little extra to get him? Whatever you think, let me know. Do you hate him? Do you think he sucks? Drop it like it's hot. But I want to thank you for watching the show, staying with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. Fuels me to keep dropping this content. Fuels me to keep watching the tape. Fuels me to keep grinding the metrics and everything else. Again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.